Hello everyone, my name is Loco, and welcome to the grand finals of a $1,500 tournament. It's time for a best of 7 series, a Protoss versus Zerg. We're in the top right-hand corner, playing in blue, playing with the Protoss pieces. We're looking inside of the main base of hero, and down in the bottom left, playing in red, we have none other than Solar. And Solar, of course, is playing with the Zerg. Now, this particular series is from a Wardy-hosted tournament, so big shout out to Wardy for, well, doing all these StarCraft events pretty much every single day, and this one is no different. $1,500 is on the line. I did already cast the semifinals of this particular event, featuring Solar going up against Classic. Classic, of course, another Protoss player. And truth be told, I mean, spoiler alert, I suppose, but Solar destroyed him. Solar absolutely destroyed Classic in those games, and I've got a feeling that hero is gonna have a very difficult time. I did not see the semifinals that hero played, however, I did look up the results, and it turns out hero, he was feeling pretty good as well that same day, because he won 4-0 over MaxSpecs in the semis. Now, that's a Protoss versus Protoss. It can be a relatively volatile matchup, but MaxSpecs has always been very well known for having excellent PvP. It's actually the matchup that he got very well known for initially, so there's no denying that hero is feeling solid, and these games got played on the very same day. So the semifinals and the grand finals all played on the same day. There was probably a little bit of downtime, so the players could prepare for, well, another best of 7. But it does mean that both hero and Solar must be feeling good as they are playing these matches. So let's find out. Now, of course, for Solar, right, we've learned exactly what his playstyle is. So Solar in the early game, at least what he did against Classic, he got hit in the face a whole lot by whatever Protoss threw at him, and then he overwhelmed them in the mid game, a little bit of late game as well, but mostly in the mid game with either Hydraling Bane, Roachling Bane, Queen drops. We saw some Zergling drops. We saw a lot of variety, but what it all comes down to is Solar defense, and then he overwhelms a little bit later on. He didn't really want to drag the games out all the way until the late game. That's what Classic tried to do. Usually, I mean, as long as Solar can destroy his opponent before, like, minute 10, it seems to be going his way. And I think you can take the, similar approach against somebody like hero. Hero, of course, is certainly a risk taker, but lately he's been playing a lot more conventional strategies. Obviously, he's not afraid to go for any sort of charge lot all-in or like a silly third base that is on like a ridiculously early timing, right? Or maybe like a fake third. We've seen him play a little bit around with that too. But across the board, I do think that at least in the, like the first 6-7 minutes or so of the game, hero and Classic do play relatively similar. For now, it's all very normal. Double Adept into Stalker. Oracle as well on the back of this. We'll probably have about a 350 third Nexus. As long as Solar defends against all those units just fine, he is going to be okay. And while I do think across the board, Hero's Micro is better than Classic's, the margins are very thin, right? Like, it's not easy to get, like, say, 10 worker kills or so. If you can pull that off consistently every time, well, then suddenly life is going to be okay. But as it is right now, while we do see a little bit of damage here on those Adepts, only a single worker has died, and I think that's okay for Solar, although he did lose more links than he really wants to be losing. Either way, now with the Oracle spotted, he decides to start up some Spore Crawlers. Hero, though, going for the third base that no Protoss ever takes. Solar will see that the probe is moving on the wrong side, and he's gonna check. Yeah, usually it's this right over here that Protoss likes to take as their third. Sometimes we see the forward third as well, if Protoss feels aggressive. This one feels a little bit odd to me. And I think that's really what hero is ridiculously good at, right? And very different as far as, like, hero strategies go compared to Classic. Hero will just flip the script upside down whenever he feels like it's the right call. Hero is capable of a little bit of everything, and while so far this is all looking relatively normal, he certainly cannot be underestimated. Queen out of position, so say goodbye to Grandpa? To Brenda. Grandpa Brenda? 3 drones also die. Okay, well, make it 6 right now in total. 7 actually throughout this game. Blink on the back of this. Forge, extra gateways. hero also, in general, a little sloppier than Classic. His macro tends to slip up, and, you know, it is not entirely uncommon to see hero sitting with like 1,000 minerals in the bank relatively early into the game. It's something that he usually fixes by adding on more gateways and warping in another round of units, but it does seem to creep up on him a little bit more frequently than other Protoss players of this level. Ooh, wow, actually commits with these. That's kind of nuts. The Adepts are going to be super dead. 3 drones is pretty good. But it is starting to be a little bit costly. 4 Adepts, though. 4 Adepts and a probe for 10 drones, 10 links. It's not the end of the world. Solar going into the 4th hatchery right now. We don't yet have a lair, do we? No, we really want to be starting that up. Okay, he's a bit late with it. It means that any sort of like Baneling speed, Hydralisk den, maybe if he's thinking about a Spire or anything along those lines, even just like a Queen push, which he's very fond of, none of it is really a viable choice right now. Solar is going to have to continue being the punching bag. He can do some Zergling run-bys and maybe get lucky with slow Banelings, but across the board, there's not a whole lot that he can do, although he's just making links. Wait a second, he's just making Zerglings. Zerglings with +1, he's making 11 Banes. Really, Solar? I mean, it's not an all-in, but it certainly feels like one. He's making non-stop units now. Is this a +1 melee timing attack? hero is, in the meantime, baited across the map. He's moving his Stalkers in the direction of that 4th. The 4th base, though, is mostly just there to be sacrificed. Static defense is going to be blown up, and those probes are not going to go home. I'm sorry, lads. And while the 4th hatchery will die at the very bottom of the map, I really don't think that Solar cares that much for it. Crazy push here. It's pure Ling Bane. Now, this is Ling Bane, though, with +1 melee. Banelings do benefit from it. Solar reading his opponent really nicely. hero, admittedly, does love doing this sort of thing. But so do all the other Protoss players of this caliber. They all go for... Here's the next third. It's not going to happen, man. This is also going to get destroyed. They all go for Stalker move-outs. I wonder what Solar would have done if this was like, I don't know, like a Zergling... A Zergling... Oh, no cancel. A Zergling opener into somebody who's rushing Zealots instead. What if it would have been charge first rather than blink? Solar flips a coin, and apparently, at least he got lucky this time around, or maybe he saw something that gave it away. I guess Banelings are not terrible against charge slots, but hardly the perfect situation for him then. But just like that, Solar sacrifices his 4th, but gets so much in return. Yeah, resources lost right now, heavily in favor of the Zerg player too, and that is whilst having a significantly better economy now. It does mean, though, that the next few minutes are pivotal for hero. He's had a good economy for quite a long time, but he's now still fighting Zealots. Zealots with Stalkers, Oracles, these are not really units that you can trade too efficiently against with just Ling Bane. We've got Hydralisks coming. Oh, the Zerglings actually apparently got into the natural expansion too. hero may be falling apart, but he's got one really nice attack in him. Is it enough right now? Oh, the Oracles just YOLO'd in. Is it enough right now, though, for hero to still push through? He doesn't know when those Banelings are going to finish up. The Zealots are awfully close, but so far, it seems like Protoss is getting a decent trade here out on the front lines. The problem is mostly that we have seen 24 probes die. This 4th hatchery is certainly going to live, and now the upgrades for the Hydralisks are starting to kick in. We've got the ranged upgrade already. The movement speed upgrade is next. hero is still on a continuous all-in right now. Archons, though, added in. We did not see additional Banelings coming up. Solar transfers drones towards the front lines. These... I don't really love the positioning here on the Banelings. Is this good enough right here for hero still? This game feels like it's in the back right here for Solar. Banelings are finishing up. I still think it's okay, but he needs like 30 seconds to breathe. Obviously, hero knows it. He needs to strike while the iron is hot. 6 drones do fall. The 3rd hatchery does finish up yet again. No workers, though, to really be mining over there. hero on his last legs. And I don't believe it's going to work out in his favor. Interestingly enough, he did smash his piggy bank, and he started up the psionic research here, so he wants to go Psystorm. Solar wants to blow up Banelings in a mineral line that is entirely empty. He does find out about the High Templar transition, but I think this will suit, yeah, Solar just fine. Hydraling Bane, I mean, it's the preferred playstyle that he goes for most of the time against Stalkers and Storm and all the rest of it. He just needs more stuff, right? I think this is a classic case of more stuff beating less stuff. And even though the High Templar are powerful, we're gonna have like 2 Storms. If that, honestly. Is there 1 Templar? Yeah, it's 1 Storm. Okay, we're warping in a few more Templar. Fair enough. Are you guys for Archons? No. At most, I think there's gonna be like 4 Storms. A fight on creep against Hydraling Bane? I wouldn't mind it, actually, if Solar decides to get up the roly-poly research for the Banelings, but yeah, I think ultimately Solar is playing this out very intelligently. He knows he just needs to dodge this. Well, I mean, that was about the best-case scenario, I think, for hero. Banelings, though, are gonna connect now with the Zealots. This High Templar does have energy now for another Storm. But I think even if you dance in the Storm, there's just not enough. Even if literally this entire Zerg army sits in there for the entire duration, I still don't think there's enough firepower. GG. Game number 2. We find ourselves on the Celestial Enclave. Is that getting annoying yet? Do I have to? Whatever. Nice match number 1 though for Solar. Has to be said. He effectively decided to go for a +1 melee timing attack with pure Zerglings and a bunch of slow Banes. It's one of those build orders that would be pretty bad against so many different strategies that Protoss can open up with. And hero obviously has a ridiculous range in his playstyles, but against the most normal build, aka 2 Adepts with a Stalker into Oracles and then into Blink, right? Against the most normal meta-focused build order, that strategy does seem to not quite hard counter it, but certainly deal a lot of damage if Protoss does not scout themselves. So, nice move right there by Solar. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off multiple times in a row. And right from the get-go in this particular match, it feels to me that hero has got something in store. This is all a little weird. Pylon right next to the Nexus and the gas. Like, we're not even walling the high ground. We're certainly not walling the low ground yet. It does give you a little bit more mining time, of course, because if you... Oh, it's just a Stargate opener. Interesting. It does give you a little bit more mining time, because other than the probe having to travel all the way down to the low ground, plant down the pylon, and then go all the way back into the main base, it can continue mining pretty much right away, so there's a few minerals gained in that regard, but... This is hero we're talking about. I don't know what build order would be so sharp that he needs those extra 3 minerals, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get the job done. Now, I think you probably gain about 10 minerals or so of potential mining time by building it right over here, rather than on the low ground. And obviously you need to bring a probe down as well for the gateway. So, yeah. Maybe it's a significant enough gain for it to actually be relevant. Void Ray first. Okay. I think this is going to be one of those hero specials. Hard to say what sort of special it's going to be. But this can be anything from like a really quick 4 Nexus opener or something silly like that, all the way to like a Mothership rush. And that's the difficult part here for Solar. How in the world is he going to figure out what he's playing against? That Void Ray is going to basically deny all scouting. Not until at least like an Overseer is out is Zerg going to get any real vision. These Adepts, by the way, are being quite effective. Yeah, I say that. It's a bunch of Lings going down. Yeah. 3 drones in total, 6 Lings and an Overlord. It's not too bad. Obviously, that Overlord, Otto got destroyed. Void Ray is going to move out onto the map. We just have an Oracle on the back of this. Okay. Pretty nicely timed 3rd Nexus, but hardly uncommon. Hero has apparently laid off the crazy juice, guys. Is this good or bad? I feel like maybe for his, like, tournament results, it's good. But for, like, the fans? What is this, though? We have a Void Ray going in. There's Otto's little brother. Eric. I mean, still. We are talking now with the Oracle also showing up. 9 worker kills for really only 3 adepts, which is pretty sick. More Oracles on the back of this. We're going Twilight Council with a Forge yet again. I wonder if hero has already made up his mind whether or not this is going to be Charge or if it's going to be Blink. Or even Glaive the Depths, to be honest. Zergling, by the way, does get in, which is the only way in which Zerg can ever get any scouting with this sort of opener. Which should never be the case, because you just put a unit on hold position over there, so... Yeah, we get some really nice early game damage done, and in the same breath, we're also sloppy with running a Zergling around, so... What do we build here? Charge? Blink? Charge. Charge with a whole lot of gas in the bank. A little bit odd. In the meantime, 4th hatchery already building here for Solar, who's gonna have to deal with a bunch of adepts now showing up. No +1 melee this time around for the Zerg. And with the adepts right here wedged in between the gases, it's quite nice. Yeah, this is so much worker damage, right? Like, it's a relatively conventional start. The Void Ray, I mean, it can hardly throw Solar off as much as it has, seemingly. We are talking 12 drones that died throughout this game so far, which is like 8 more than you really want. Dang. 15! Hydra Den on the back of this for Solar, who decided to skip out on both the Roach Warren as well as the Baneling Nest. So it's effectively pure Hydra Ling. Solar taking a page out of the Brood War book. Oh, what? What is... He's going for a Phoenix. Now, this could be due to the fact that Solar likes to go for Queen drops. He does it all the time. He loves Queen drops. If we only go for 1 Phoenix, it could be that. But that's what the... This is a little bit confusing here, because that's what the Void Ray is really good for as well. What is the 1 Phoenix for? I'm almost wondering if that's a misclick. No, it's not. He's sending it out. Is this just to throw Solar off? Solar did immediately move the Ling. So that does indicate that he must have seen that there is indeed a Phoenix out. And I think if you're Zerg here, you're pretty happy with the whole situation. Like, you're already making Hydras. If you truly believe your opponent is going to go for a Phoenix follow-up, I mean, Hydras are going to be the way to go. One of the Oracles dies here at the front. Baneling Nest right now on the back of this, now that he saw Charge. Okay. Another Oracle? No, not quite. This one will live. I'm not sure what to make of this 1 Phoenix. Very odd. I guess it's like a permanent hallucination. Or maybe the hallucination is the fake version of the real thing. Anyways, it's certainly like the fastest and most nimble unit you can produce. It's not too expensive, but certainly not free. And Solar has decided that he's had enough. He's been a punching bag yet again. 19 drones have died. That is a ridiculous amount. We're probably going to see some Banelings coming up. Really? As the Zerg starts knocking on your door, that's when we go Fleet Beacon? Zealot run by in the meantime, though, going in. Zerg was almost ready to break open the natural expansion. A little bit messy across the board. Looks like the reinforcing Lings have, yeah, killed all of the units over here. Solar decides to just back off for now. He's not really too concerned about it all. He's still making non-stop army, by the way, so despite the fact that he is... Really? We're gonna recall 3 Zealots? Despite the fact that Solar wanted to be a little bit more committed to the attack, I think he's still going to double down that same line of thought. Is this just for a Mama ship? Second Forge? No way, hero. What are we gonna do with a second Forge? Does he not realize that his rocks have been taking damage? I mean, this must have been on the minimap for a long time already. There we go. Rocks are now fully down, and that means that the Lings are gonna stream in. So many Hydras as well. Zealots on the front lines, not really getting the connections here that you would like as a Protoss player. Hydras are just gonna destroy a lot of this, man. You do have to be careful, though. Archons are dangerous, and we have an Archon surround coming in around the other side. A lot of Zealots available, but so many Banes and Zerglings got into the main base. That's 13, well, probes that have died thus far. This is one of the weirdest games that I've seen in a bit. So, I guess it's due to the fact Solar decides to tap out. I guess it's due to the fact that he lost so many drones throughout this game, and he's kind of been forced into an all-in. But I don't really know if the all-in was as committed as it needed to be here. Because 12 probes died. Eco-wise, hero is in a good spot, but not an amazing one. Solar is in a decent spot, but certainly not a terrible one. It's a questionable GG here for me. He saw the fleet beacon, so I guess he knows that next up there's going to be a Mama ship. He knows that it's probably going to be like some sort of potential Skytles transition, and he's kind of stuck playing Hydrolling Bane. I do agree that as the dust settles in this fight, it's a better position for Protoss, but it's maybe like a 75-25 situation for me, you know? Like, it's a better position for hero, but I've seen hero lose from this spot many a times before, too. Maybe Solar overestimated the amount of damage that the units actually dealt on his side of the map. I mean, don't get me wrong, losing 23 drones is kind of terrible, but you still have 4 base economy. I don't love it, but I do feel like this is an early GG. So I wonder if something has changed, because I have seen Solar play some pretty darn good late games. But just thinking about that previous GG a little bit more, I wonder if Solar just believes that the late game for Zerg versus Protoss is absolutely terrible for Zerg. So you win or you die trying? Is that the play? Is that what we're going for? Because that would also explain why hero is opening up a lot more conventionally. He's kind of stopped doing the crazy stuff. I wonder if there's been some sort of like... Obviously there's some sort of Discord group chat, right? Or maybe like a Discord server or something where both of these guys are, and... I wonder if maybe the Zergs have been complaining lately about Protoss late game. I mean, certainly it seems to be working out for Classic. But Solar has been playing so much more aggressively lately in the mid game that I wonder if he just believes that late game is unwinnable. I'm not entirely sure if it's true, though. We'll have to see. Solar may very well be keeping up the aggression. He saw that he was economically not in a great spot. He didn't have any Evo Chamber upgrades. He saw that the fleet beacon was done. So I think in his mind, he just sort of... If you assume that late game is not winnable, right? In his mind, that game was over. Then suddenly it would make sense what both of the players are doing. Yeah. Turns out being a StarCraft commentator is not just about game knowledge, but you also have to be like part-time psychiatrist, where you have to think about what the players are thinking and what their mindset currently is. It does seem to me that Solar may be slightly... You know, I am giving him like... If like 0 is not tilted at all and 100 is incredibly tilted, I think Solar is probably... Like, he used to be like a 20% tilted. I think right now he may have moved up to like, say, like a 50% tilt. Yeah. Psychiatrist Loco here. You're welcome. I can't prescribe any medication, but that's okay. Oh, sorry, Brenda. Damn, did you see that? Brenda finished her injection, and then she decided that she was in stasis. Very weird. She's like, oh, wait, I am actually currently in stasis. Finished the inject, though. Committed to the swarm. You'll love to see it. She went out doing what she loves. What do you think it's like to be in stasis? Like, do you think you just wake up and you completely forgot time? I reckon it's kind of similar to like a coma or like getting operated on, you know? Like they give you like, you know when you get operated, they give you the good stuff and then suddenly you're out. And then about half a second later, you wake up again. But it turns out a lot of time has skipped. At least that's what it feels like to me. Or maybe it's relaxing. Maybe your mind is just kind of AFK, you know? Like you're still physically there, but it's just kind of chill. Anyways, we have a forward third Nexus here, and the Oracle's dealing a bunch of damage. Yet again, killing queens. 2 queens have died this game. Oh, retargeting there. Overcommitted. Zerglings, though, in the meantime, at the front lines have not really achieved much. As of me recording this, I actually have another operation in like a week and a half. Ugh. Good times. The doctors are gonna be forced to give me the good stuff again, too, I guess. Ooh, this is a great surround for Solar. Yeah. Speaking of the good stuff for Zerg. Not too terrible. Turns out they don't do air operations with, like, partial... No, we don't do that. It'll go fine, right? Surely it'll go fine. I think this is like air operation number 7 or so for me. Not good. Something else that's not good, though, is these sentries dying at the front lines. This is the first sentries we've seen in these games, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe there were some, actually. On Tourmaline. But a little bit... Yeah, a little bit messy. Honestly, again, for both players. 2 oracles going down, 2 queens going down, a sentry. Like, this is messy. This is not really supposed to be. Double robo right now on the back of this. He's building them over at the 3rd base in, like, the most scoutable and most exposed location. Baneling speed, in the meantime, researching, though, for Zerg. Who's just gonna go pure Hydraling Bane yet again. Here's the Zealot move out. So is this gonna be for a Colossus transition, or are we just gonna go pure Archon Immortal? It's a little weird. Against Hydraling Bane, you do certainly like having a bunch of Colossi. The Queens right now take the brunt of the damage. They're waiting for the Banes. Charging into Banelings is not ideal. But you know what? These guys, they have swords for hands. And what is previously, in my mind, like a 50% tilted, kind of feels like we're moving to like a 90% tilt right here for Solar. He just got attack moved. They call hero the Smiling Assassin for a very good reason. He's always smiling. And hero does not strike me as a tilter. Some players are far more emotional than others. It has always seemed to me that, like, the very best players that we've ever had in StarCraft 2 are able to basically be robotic, almost. Like, they're not entirely... Like, they're still human, I think. Except for Mech Specs, I'm not sure about that, but... They're still mostly human. But you do need to be able to at least shut down most of your emotions when you're playing a competition like this. Because if you are gonna let your frustration lead into the next game of a series, you're just basically 80% of the way there to a loss. At least that's what I've experienced many times myself, and that's not even for any money. I get tilted over easy ladder games and rage queue the next match if I'm not careful. Most of the top tier contenders are able to shut down their emotions, although I will say, Clem? Yeah, Clem can be a bit of a rager sometimes, I think. He doesn't really show it that much, but he has slammed a few keyboards. He has Hulk smashed a bunch of times, and it's not like he's, you know, skipping the GGs that frequently, but it does happen. I think Clem can sometimes kind of get in his own head a little bit. Very momentum-driven, of course, not just with the way that he likes to play Terran, but also just throughout a series and even throughout a tournament. When Clem starts winning, he usually doesn't stop. It's hard to even imagine somebody like Maru, somebody like hero, somebody like Serral do a keyboard smash. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... I can't really picture Serral picking up his mouse and then flinging it through the room. It doesn't... Even if they do feel it, which happens. If you care about things, you know, frustration doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it can certainly, be something that can either hide very well or they're mostly able to just sort of shut off. Then again, they certainly do care, though, because I have seen both of them very teary-eyed after they won the tournament. I guess that's also, like, maybe you kind of keep it in for a long time, and then when you finally win the thing you've been practicing for all the time, when you finally get the job done, that's when the emotions come out. Could be. Anyways, all of this is to say that I think Solar needs to be a little bit careful that he doesn't accidentally tilt himself into oblivion and just lose the series off of that alone. Because hero does not care. As a matter of fact, he will play into it. He started off this game with a very quick probe scout, so blocking the natural expansion of Zerg, which is just like, it's like a 1% tilt. It's not that big of a deal, but it's more than 0. It's a little bit annoying. Solar shouldn't care much about it, but he certainly prefers getting access to his own natural. Adepts shading around, trying to be a nuisance. And here, you can already see Mr. hero boosting up his eco quite nicely, worker count-wise. Not a bad spot. Now, he is a little late with this probe transfer. This probe was supposed to be here about 10 seconds ago. So you work really hard to get a 10-second advantage or so with the probe and with the adepts over here, and then you end up delaying yourself with a delayed third nexus. He had the money for it already. That's hero in a nutshell for you. Work really hard for small leads and then sloppily throw away the advantage. Anyhow, Twilight Council and Forge. Oh, no Twilight Council. Oh, okay. No Twilight Council yet. But it's come up right now, a little bit later as well than it probably should have been. Oracle number 3 coming up. And if you are in hero's shoes right now, though, right, you gotta think, what is the most annoying thing I can do? You gotta channel your little brother energy. How could you antagonize Solar as much as possible? Me, I have 3 older sisters. Let me just say that as a kid, I perfected that. I was really good at being annoying. Yeah, I'm quite proud of it. I have successfully made my sisters rage quit to my mom many times. They have floated their command centers to the corner of the map many a time. Yeah, pretty good. They didn't enjoy it very much then, but anyways, we get along now, so it works. Lair coming up. I mean, if you're the youngest in the house, aren't you supposed to be rage baiting your siblings? Or is that maybe I'm just a prick. I don't know. Anyways, Blink coming up here together with +1. I might just be a prick. 4th hatchery in the meantime out front as well. Lasers. Good lasers. I'm assuming we're gonna go into a Hydra then. Although we could go Spire. Ah, it's a Spire. Okay. Spire seems to be very popular on the Old Republic. I'm not sure what to make of that. We've got Blink, though, coming up already, right? And Templar Archives is going to be done plenty in time. We should see at least an Archon or 2, or maybe even Storm nearly done by the time that Mutas come flapping their little wings. As long as this is sniffed out by hero, he should be in a really comfortable spot. If he adds on a couple of photons, 1 in each mineral line would be preferred. Zergling's trying to keep this Stalker army home. Solar will now see what he's going up against. There's no reason to be warping in Stalkers at this point if you're not going for a Stalker follow-up. Nice little bit of stutter step micro, though, on both the Stalkers as well as the Oracles here. There's the Storm research. Solar knows of it. Hero does not know of the Spire. He does not know of the extra gases that have been taken. Although he will see a gas geyser, I think, over here. If he flies just a little bit to the right, he would see. He doesn't. There's very little reason for this gas to be taken before the hatchery is done. But we have a safety photon cannon at the 3rd. Ah, there's one in the natural expansion too. And I don't know if this is game sense or if hero just sort of has sniffed it out. He hasn't seen any Hydralisks, right? And that's a lot of lings. He hasn't seen roaches either. Not really a whole lot of follow-up. I mean, he may have spotted the roach warren, but now he sees, yeah, a bunch of them at the front lines, I guess. It's not a clear indicator that this is going to be Mutas every time, but he is a little bit suspicious. Well, the Mutas are going to arrive right about 2 seconds after the photon cannon finishes. And I guess at this point he has decided, nope, I've been spotted, I've been seen. I'll go after the Oracles instead. But this is giving Hero a lot more time to prepare. And what could have been so nice is now kind of working out awfully. We have the Pneumatized Carapace research, I guess, for Zerg. He could go for drops if he wanted to, but yeah, I don't think I love it. Fleet Beacon right now on the back of this, so hero yet again laying back. Just relaxing into the late game. Solar has decided that he needs to go and push. We do have an Infestation Pit now, though, together with a Hydra Den. So I'm expecting a Hive together with a Lurker Den on the back of this. Oh, he restarts up the Pneumatized Carapace after canceling it previously. Main concern right now for Hero is that he doesn't have a 4th Nexus. It's very weird to be sitting here, but not really have any line of attack, and then likewise also not have any plans to play macro, and then likewise also not really have the best tech, right? Like, you're kind of leaning into nothing here as Hero. The only thing you really would like to do is defend an imminent all-in here from Solar. And I think Solar here is making the right play by indeed going into a Hive and a Lurker Den and not pushing. Hero would have loved to deal with this Zerg army over at his 3rd base. Now instead, yeah, there's a little bit of Zerg army there. But instead, Hero's hand is forced. Hero needs to go for a 4th Nexus. He needs to build up the mothership and probably continue pro production all at the same time. Okay. Yeah, Hero gets what he wanted to get all this time along, right? He wanted to try and play late game ever since game number 1. He's accidentally won twice before that point. Fair enough. He lost once as well. But this is effectively what Hero has been leaning into this entire series long. Let's see if it is indeed as terrifying as Solar seems to think that it is. Hive is nearly finished. Lurkers are already on the production tab. We'll probably have the 2 upgrades for the Lurkers as well in just a moment. Oh, High Templar being saved by the Prism. Oh, one of them died. Oh, careful. Oh, careful. I mean, I say that. Mutas did pop as well. A bunch of Lurkers now at the front lines, but without Seismic Spines, I don't think they're really that scary. Seismic Spine gives Lurkers way more ranged. Very little reason here for Hero to push through. He does have Oracles in the mix, so detection is not an issue. Storm over here is nice. A couple of Stormies. Revelation there too. He sees a couple of them getting cancelled. Fair enough. This is really just Hero, though, protecting his own territory. The Zerg units, they can probably smell it, right? Hero's been rubbing his High Templar against the walls. Having his Zealots pissed right over here against the glass. He's marking his territory. Speaking of marking his territory, though, he's going around the map now with Zealots. This is Hero maxed out. He actually wants to open up supply to make more Skytles. So I don't know if the Zealots know it, but you guys are purely sacrificial now. You're just here to gain any form of value. You gotta mark your territory as a Protoss player. It's a forgotten art. Zergs definitely communicate through pheromones primarily, right? They just smell things. How else would they communicate? Do they have body language? Kind of. They definitely don't have language. They don't talk. I don't even think Zerg players shower. Anyways. Corruptor's now on the production tab. So we're going into like a proper late game now. Bunch of adepts from the early game still left over. May as well use them. Yeah, so Hero is just chilling. He's effectively trying to make a death bolt. And it's up to Solar now to try and deny it. Now, Solar is going for an insane amount of drones here. I guess the plan is to just start up static defense and try to see if the late game is indeed a playable spot. But let's see. We honestly don't see this all too much. We do see it from Classic. Classic loves doing this thing that Hero is doing right now. And he seems to win like 90% of the time from this position. I feel like late game ZVP has always been very interesting. Early 2025, it was kind of generally assumed, it seemed, at the pro level, that Zerg wanted to end the game before this spot. Oh, Lurkers now uproot. Careful, man, we're going in deep. Time Warp, though, is going to be a banger through this choke point. Corruptors do move in as well. In the meantime, we did have a bunch of damage being done as well with some run-bys and some flybys. Anyhow, what happened, right, halfway throughout 2025, is we have the Lurkers trying to make a jump again. Solar trying to get lucky. He's fishing. But he's like fishing by like putting his like spear right next to the fish. It's not... It's a curious way of getting the job done. These Corruptors are also just being YOLO'd in. No way, dude. In the meantime, the base in the top left did die. We do, by the way, have a Dark Shrine here as well, so Seismic Spines is gonna be nice. But we're now gonna have the good old Dark Templar Blink. High Templar kind of disconnected, though. Do we have a Time Warp available yet again? Not yet. Messy. Scrappy. But I think this is okay, though, for Protoss. There's just not enough anti-air here. There's one Corruptor still available. A few more are showing up. Hydra's now joining the fray, too. But usually, Zerg prefers having the fights take about 5 seconds. Right? Like, these disengaged, or these disconnected fights where Protoss gets to disengage constantly. They get to, like, chip away at all these units. I don't really know if it's that bad here for hero. The Corruptors, though, do get another Tempest kill. The Time Warp here is slowing everything down. Loads of observers also joining in together. Now hero is trying to chase. Oh, we do have a little bit too aggressive of a play, though, but that storm is nice. Big warp in the middle of the combat. Prism did take a bunch of damage, but the Stalkers do complete. Observers have to be all army hotkeyed backwards again. What a weird engagement. Absolute roller coaster as both players decide to take each other down. That being said, Solar is doing this off of 91 drones, whereas Hero is only on 64 probes. Okay, so what I was trying to say earlier, right? Early 2025, it seemed like late game ZVP was considered Protoss' favorite. Going into the World Championships, it kind of seemed a lot of Zerg players did not like playing against Protoss in the late game at all, so they played super aggressively. As in, like, what Solar has been doing for most of the games we've seen him play lately. However, then at the EWC, we learned that Serral had figured out how to counter the Protoss late game, and he looked pretty much unbeatable. So, you get this weird thing where, like, well, we had Classic in the Grand Finals against Serral. Classic basically cruised his way there by winning in the late game against Zerg most of the time, but then he went up against Serral, who just kind of dismantled him. He had figured it out and knew how to get the job done. It may be, though, that after that, a lot of Protoss players were like, well, I guess that means we can no longer play late game against Zerg. But that wasn't really entirely true. It was really just Serral that's the problem. And if you're not playing against Serral, maybe that's the solution right there. Either way, loads of probes die right now to the Zergling counterattack. And, well, we did have a Dark Templar group taking down a hatchery in the top left. Only 2 drones. So we're talking still 88 workers here versus 57. So the longer that this goes on, Solar may be taking some relatively inefficient trades, but as long as these economy differences are noticeable, Zerg is going to have such a nice economy, right? He's going to have such a big income. Right now, the supply count is about 50 different. So, where do we go? We go on base race? No way, hero. We base race it out? I don't believe Solar can go home. Likewise, I don't think Hero can, although he could recall to the natural. Where do the lurkers go? That's going to give us all the info. The Corruptors can't really help out too much in a base race scenario. Hatchery in the middle is gone. Nexus, okay, is going to fall eventually too, as Solar does now start the grand retreat. Do we have enough, though? Do you recall here as Protoss? Honestly, I wouldn't mind it. He wants more, though. He wants to go into the main. Oh, this is so fishy. The storms are good. The lurkers obviously kind of need to be in position. We have Archons underneath, though, and they are dealing so much damage. Will they be able to deal enough damage before the Skytol's units disappear? Well, most of the Tempests are still fine. Now the lurkers are trying to boost their way up towards the high ground. Recall now begins. Good target firing here by Solar, as he still gets at least a little bit of value, but I think that may have been a bit of an overextension by Protoss. I would not have minded it if he just saved his Nexus in the middle. Lurker, though, got the job done eventually. He's gonna get rewarded with death. Yeah, I guess sometimes there can be a reward. Either way, cost efficiency-wise, it's still good for Protoss. The problem is that Solar has just been so far ahead economically for such a long time. How in the world are you gonna fight a Zerg that has like 50% more income than you for forever? Big Zealot run by. I guess that's one way to get the job done. You may have the worker count, but if the workers aren't mining efficiently, okay, that's another hatchery down the drain. That's 2 bases falling. Counterattack here as well by Solar. All of the workers here for hero. Yeah, he doesn't have that many, but at least they're mining. Loads of these drones are just spending a lot of time running. Oh, abductions to where? Where are we abducting to? To one Hydralisk? The Vipers end up dying. Like that those Vipers. Those Vipers did absolutely nothing. Solar decides to again throw the towel into the ring. It just seems like he is stuck in this like weird late game loop where he believes he can't win the late game, so he doesn't even really seem to try. It feels like a throw. And that takes us to Ruby Rock. I really don't think Solar needed to tap out. It seems to me that Solar interprets the game as it is in a position, right, where he feels like he needs to go and win within the next minute, because otherwise he will lose in the long run, right? Like, he decides to go full aggression, because apparently in his mind, if he doesn't, he's gonna lose. But I feel like we've now seen 2 games back-to-back where maybe, maybe that's the case, but not really. It certainly didn't seem that desperate at all. It's always weird when you tap out, when you have a lot of workers available. Now, he did lose 2 bases. That's unfortunate, but I mean, that was also hero's like 7th time attacking the base in the top left-hand corner, and Solar didn't put any static defense there. He didn't put any lurkers there either. If he would have put up like 2 spine crawlers and 3 lurkers in that spot, there's very little that Protoss can actually do. You have to commit to a massive Dark Templar Zealot push if you actually want to take it down, and yeah, it's weird. Like, Solar seems... he seems a bit frustrated. Well, that takes us to Ruby Rock, which is match point right here for this $1,500 grand finals. What do we do now, hero? I think the sky is the limit, honestly. This almost seems like an invitation. The Stalker's just hanging out. Solar doesn't want to take the invitation, though. He doesn't trust anything anymore. Trust issues aren't fun. 2 Adepts, shade into the base. 1 drone. Couple Zerglings. 2 drones. 2 drones is not ideal. 2 drones for 2 Adepts is not enough. I like 3. I love 4. I think 3 is good. 2 is, yeah, not. Main problem right now is the Zergling counterattack. Suddenly, you're in a little bit of trouble here. You can't really warp in that many defensive units. Maybe you have to keep your oracles at home. Now, obviously, hero has got a lot of time in this match. Shield battery goes down. Has to be cancelled. So that's 25 minerals, but not the end of the world. Oh. Okay. I think hero has indeed figured out how to get the job done. Just build a mothership, and Solar will probably tilt. Just build a Tempest, and Solar is probably gonna go do something stupid. Show him 1 carrier, and he'll probably build a Spire and 20 Corruptors immediately, right? And he doesn't win with Zealots. Like, where do you go from here if you're Solar? It's an overcommitment. I think that's what it is. Like, yeah, you gotta respect the Protoss late game, but don't know if you have to respect it that much. So I wonder if this is for the Mama ship. I think it's not. I think this is a Tempest rush. Could be a carrier rush even, but Tempest probably more likely. No, it's carriers! Damn. We're gonna make the banana ships. They did look more like bananas in Brood War, I will say. These are a lot more pretty, right? Like, they're actually a little bit more... yeah. They look more like spaceships. Less like bananas. Although, I guess it doesn't really matter. if you're flying around on a planet or in space in general, the shape doesn't really have to be particularly aerodynamic. If humans ever get to the point where we're building spaceships in space, right? So we're not actually trying to get stuff off of planet Earth, but we're just building stuff in space. I wonder what those things are gonna look like. Like if we can make the spaceships entirely in space, they can be whatever shape we like. Are we bailing busting it, Solar? Is that the plan? Really? We're trying to go back. We're trying to go back to what we did in game 1. So it's a carrier rush versus a bailing bust. This is so awkward. Yeah, that's 10 probes down. But the carriers are having a grand old time. And those oracles are not... I don't think 10 probes is enough. Like, we were talking the absolute ultimate tech here for Protoss versus the lowest type of tech for Zerg, right? Like, we have a Spire coming up now. +1 air weapons, by the way. Already about halfway done for hero. 11 probes is a reasonable price to pay. Okay, maybe put something over here, though. Maybe just chill. Yeah, I think as a Protoss player here, considering Solar seems to be on edge, I think you just sit here and you just wait. He'll come to you, man. There's really no reason to go out onto the map and risk it. I think you just kind of sit here and make more carriers. Alternatively, he can go for a push. I don't think it would be a terrible idea either, but it seems to me that Solar is not gonna really, want to chill. Not again. Okay, I thought for a second the Lings were gonna go in again. You do need something to address the Corruptors. So in a straight-up engagement against Corruptors, the carriers will just straight-up die. You do need to have either Archons or High Templar or both. So I think that's the plan. +2 air weapons is amazing. Really helps out a lot in carrier land. And then, well, obviously Psystorm research is also important. Because of it, though, you're very Vespian limited. So getting the 4th Nexus up here and just sitting at home, I think that's the right play. He doesn't even have charge yet. Yeah, just sit at home, get the gases going over here. Solar will come to you. Solar committing to an armor upgrade here. It can help out against interceptors, I suppose, but usually we see Zergs going flyer upgrades here, like the attack upgrades, that is. We do have 14 Corruptors. There's the +2. I don't think it's enough. I don't think 14, 15 Corruptors. Yeah, maybe. Storm is not yet finished, of course, but the Archons are going to be good for zoning. So Archons have very short range, but always splash damage attacks. So any sort of clumped up unit, like all flying units for Zerg, tend to be a good target for them. Yeah. And this is fine. This zoning is really good here for hero. Oh, this is a YOLO move. Maybe it's good enough, though. Oh, Corruptor Micro. Yeah, not too shabby, actually. It's gonna trigger hero to go for a push. He just army hotkeyed the Oracle in. Hero, stop, man. You can hotkey your units. You can't put a unit on hold position. He was like, nah, we don't do that. Where we are going, we don't need that. We just army hotkey literally all the things. Yes, I am the best micro Protoss player if I want to, but also I don't want to be. So, what are you gonna do about it, Loco? Okay. Oh, Corruptors YOLOing in. Mama's gonna die. Bunch of Corruptors also die, though. So that's 6 Corruptors for a Mama ship. I hate to tell Mama, but that's cost efficient. That's cost efficient for Protoss. Nice force fields. Interceptors, by the way, are gonna get a ridiculous amount of additional damage from this research right over here. It's effectively +16 for 1 upgrade. Oh no, a bunch of misreadied roaches as they try to retreat. Yeah, this upgrade is huge. So interceptors all shoot twice when they attack, and obviously you can carry 8 interceptors per carrier. So it doesn't look like that big of an upgrade, but attack upgrades on carriers are huge. Zerglings, Marines, those are the types of units that benefit from upgrades the most. But carriers are right on the back of it. Here we go. Air Weapons level 2 is going to finish up in time before this attack. We do not have Storm, by the way. Dude, this is like... He doesn't even have Storm. He's just going pure Archon. There's no micro here, really, for hero. Banelings are starting to roll through, though, and there's a lot more on the back of this. We're going to need to see some Corrosive Biles, preferably. I guess there's not that many Ravagers. There we go. They're not really landed anywhere, though. Loads of probes do die as well to a big Zealot counterattack over the third base, the natural. And I think the amount of stuff that herO's got here is just simply good enough. Banelings all roll into one Archon who does not care whatsoever. Just like that. hero wins the fight. Now, my favorite part about that fight is that I'm fairly certain hero kind of just looked at the screen and did very little. This is one of those fights, and they're pretty rare, but this is one of those fights where you benefit from not doing anything. Because if you start microing, you're probably going to miss shots. He just attack moved with the Zealots to the other side of the map. And then he kind of walked out of the Corrosive Biles while having like a pre-spread on his Archons. I think Solar, though, really is frustrated there. It's one of those fights, and I think the frustration there for Zerg also comes from the fact that that is the type of unit composition for Protoss that requires basically no micro. And then as a Zerg player, you're desperately trying to target fire. You're trying to make sure you're not with your Corruptors clumped up above the Archons. You need to make sure your Banelings don't roll into the Archons, but go for like the potential High Templar. Now, there weren't any High Templar in that fight, so I think the Banelings were probably a questionable choice too. You want to make sure, of course, that you keep up your Queen injects, and then the Zealot run-by comes back in too on your side of the map. You got to make sure you micro against that. You can't just attack move into it. You need to make sure you're actually controlling your troops. So it's one of those setups where, as a Protoss player, the work is done. Like, the work was done when you build up the army. At least, like, 98% of it. And as a Zerg player, it kind of feels like the work is just beginning right at that point in time. Solar, I think, royally tilted at the end of this. But it does mean that hero wins the series 4-1. Solar started off this series very confidently, but it's hero who wins the event. GG.